Hello and welcome to Smart Listening Lab. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Peter. Welcome to our podcast designed to help you sharpen your English skills. We're so glad you're here with us today.
Today we're tackling a theme that's impossible to ignore, no matter where you are in the world: the environment. It's a topic that comes up in news reports, conversations, and even pop culture, so having the right vocabulary is incredibly useful for any English learner.
Absolutely. We've structured this episode to help you absorb these key terms naturally. First, you'll hear a longer, more detailed conversation between two friends, Amy and Robert. They'll be discussing various environmental challenges.
Then we'll analyze their conversation, picking out crucial vocabulary and phrases. We'll give you clear definitions and plenty of example sentences to help you remember and use them in your own conversations. And finally, we'll give you a chance to practice and interact with us. So let's get started.
Robert, I was reading an article about the latest climate report. It feels like we're constantly on the brink of a crisis. The data on global warming is just so concerning.
I know. It's truly a cause for concern, and it seems to be accelerating. I was just reading about the polar ice caps melting faster than ever, and it's leading to some pretty significant shifts in global weather patterns.
And the reports on fossil fuels are terrifying. Our dependency on oil and gas is still so high despite all the talk about clean energy. I just wish there was a global consensus on how to make a real change.
It's hard, because the transition is so massive. I think governments need to impose stricter environmental regulations to force companies to change. The amount of carbon emissions coming from industries and transportation is just staggering. It feels like we're not taking decisive action fast enough.
I agree. And don't even get me started on plastic pollution. It's everywhere, in our oceans, on the streets. I've been trying to reduce my use of single-use plastics, but it feels like a small effort against a tidal wave of waste.
That's how I feel about my own carbon footprint. I try to cycle more, buy locally, and eat less meat. But when you look at the big picture of industrial emissions and deforestation happening in places like the Amazon, it feels like an insignificant gesture.
But those individual actions do matter, you know? They create a collective demand for change. And we need to find more sustainable solutions. Things like investing in renewable energy and promoting green technology are the way forward.
Absolutely. I also think we need to talk more about the loss of biodiversity. We're losing species at an alarming rate, and that has a domino effect on the entire ecosystem. It's not just about rising temperatures, it's about the entire planet's health.
That's a good point. It's all interconnected. And I think a lot of people are still in denial about the full scale of the problem. They need to understand that this isn't an abstract issue. It affects all of us.
A much more detailed conversation there. Amy and Robert covered a lot of ground, from individual actions to global policy. Let's dive into some of the key terms they used.
We'll start with the most obvious one, global warming. I am repeating the keyword. It is global warming. This is the ongoing long-term rise in Earth's average temperature. You might say, the documentary explained the devastating effects of global warming on our planet's ecosystems.
Scientists have been warning about the increase in global warming for decades, urging us to take immediate action.
One of the major consequences of global warming is the rise in sea levels, which threatens coastal communities.
The debate over the best way to combat global warming is a key topic at international climate conferences.
We can all contribute to slowing down global warming by using less energy and choosing sustainable options. The report showed a direct link between industrialization and the acceleration of global warming.
Next, they talked about fossil fuels. I am repeating the keyword. It is fossil fuels. These are natural fuels formed from the remains of living organisms, like coal, oil, and natural gas.
Countries are under pressure to transition away from fossil fuels to cleaner energy sources. Burning fossil fuels is the primary contributor to carbon emissions and air pollution.
The price of fossil fuels can be volatile, which makes them an unreliable source of long-term energy.
Many people are choosing electric cars to reduce their reliance on fossil fuels.
The search for alternative energy is driven by the need to find a replacement for depleting fossil fuels. International agreements aim to limit the consumption of fossil fuels to slow down climate change.
They also use the phrase decisive action. I am repeating the key word, it is decisive action. This means taking firm, swift, and effective steps to solve a problem. After years of discussion, it's time for governments to take decisive action and approve a new environmental policy.
The new report on pollution calls for decisive action from world leaders to protect our oceans.
Without decisive action on renewable energy, we will continue to rely on traditional power sources.
The community demanded decisive action from the local council to clean up the polluted river.
The company's CEO took decisive action to implement a new recycling program across all branches.
Robert mentioned the term carbon footprint. I am repeating the keyword, it is carbon footprint. This is the total amount of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide, that are generated by our actions.
She made a conscious effort to reduce her carbon footprint by eating less meat and walking more. The company is committed to shrinking its carbon footprint by investing in energy-efficient technology.
You can calculate your personal carbon footprint to see how your daily habits impact the environment.
Using renewable energy sources like solar and wind power can significantly lower your carbon footprint.
He began a project to grow his own vegetables, which is a great way to reduce his carbon footprint.
Finally, a very important one, renewable energy. I am repeating the keyword, it is renewable energy. This refers to energy that is collected from natural resources that are replenished constantly, like sunlight, wind, rain, and tides. Many countries are heavily investing in renewable energy to achieve their climate goals.
The new factory will be powered entirely by renewable energy sources.
Homeowners can install solar panels on their roofs to generate their own renewable energy.
Renewable energy is a key part of building a more sustainable future for the planet.
The government announced a tax credit for businesses that switch to renewable energy. Unlike fossil fuels, renewable energy sources do not produce harmful greenhouse gases.
Now it's your turn. We want to hear from you. Pick one of the keywords we've discussed today, like global warming or renewable energy, and try to create your own sentence.
That's right. Write your sentence in the comments below. It's a great way to practice and apply what you've learned. We love seeing your progress and interacting with you.
That's all the time we have for today. We hope you learned something new and feel more confident using these words and phrases.
Join us next time on Smart Listening Lab for another episode of Learn English Quickly with Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in. Keep practicing, and for more English lessons, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.